reforma migratoria. Un aliado. Abogado Borja. 718 La Migra. 718-526-4472.
Today, I will be discussing the general process of affirmatively applying for political asylum, including eligibility requirements, the period of time it takes for processing, and the possible outcomes of a case. The first step in this complex process is to arrive in the United States. Once you are already in the United States, you should file Form I-589, Application for Asylum and Withholding of Removal, within 1 year of your arrival in the United States. There are some exceptions to this rule based on changed or extraordinary circumstances which you would have to provide proof of. You may apply for asylum regardless of how you entered the United States or your current immigration status. After immigration, also known as USCIS, has received your application, USCIS will send you 1. An acknowledgement of receipt of your application, and 2. A notice to appear at the nearest Application Support Center, ASC, for fingerprinting. Asylum applicants are not required to pay the fingerprinting fee. You must show up at the ASC with your appointment notice to have your fingerprints taken, after which USCIS runs a fingerprinting and background security check. Usually within 21 days after mailing your completed Form 589, USCIS will mail you an interview notice for your scheduled interview at one of the 8 asylum offices or at a USCIS field office. Your notice may arrive later. The notice mailed to you by USCIS will give you the date, time, and location of your asylum interview. In most cases, the interview is conducted 43 days after the application for asylum is received by USCIS, unless you are scheduled to be interviewed at a USCIS field office. You may bring an attorney to your interview along with your spouse and any children seeking derivative asylum benefits. If you are unable to proceed with the interview in English, you must also bring an interpreter. In addition, you are allowed to bring witnesses to support your case for asylum. The interview lasts approximately 1 hour, but times may vary depending on the case. Next, the asylum officer will determine whether or not you are eligible for asylum, and then a supervisory asylum officer will review the decision. In order to determine whether or not you qualify for asylum, an asylum officer will see if you meet the definition of a refugee in Section 101A42, capital A, of the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, and if you are barred from being granted asylum under Section 2008B2 of the INA. The supervisory asylum officer reviews the decision made by the asylum officer to make sure that the decision is consistent with the law, and in some cases he or she may refer the case to Asylum Division headquarters for additional review. As in the majority of cases, the decision will be ready for you to pick up within 2 weeks of the interview at the asylum office. In other words, you should receive a decision for your case no later than 60 days after filing your asylum application. It may take longer if you are invalid in immigration status at the present time, were interviewed at a USCIS field office, have pending security checks, or have an asylum case that is being reviewed at an Asylum Division headquarters. In these cases, USCIS will generally mail the decision to you. You may remain in the United States while your case is pending with USCIS. It must be noted that if your case is not approved and you do not have a legal immigration status, USCIS will issue a notice to appear and forward your case to an immigration judge. Until the immigration judge makes a decision, you may still live in the United States. However, many asylum applicants are not authorized to work. The immigration judge then conducts a hearing and will make a decision that is independent from the one made by USCIS. If USCIS doesn't have any jurisdiction over your asylum case, they will issue a notice of referral to an immigration judge, which would then turn it into a defensive asylum processing. This review by an immigration judge which would then turn it into a defensive asylum processing. This review by an immigration judge may take over a year to be heard. The judge will then make the determination of whether or not the person qualifies for asylum based on current law. I hope that this information has been useful to you and any loved one this issue affects. If you have any doubts or concerns regarding the matter, please contact us at 718LAMIGRA, which is 718-526-4472. It would be our pleasure to help and answer your questions. Have a great day. Thank you.
Reforma migratoria. Un aliado. Abogado Borja. 718 La Migra. 718-526-4472.